So, what is the difference between Nigeria and America? What is the difference between the UK and Nigeria? What is the difference between Europe and Nigeria? Is it about corruption? Let's think hard. As usual, this is not about coming here to come and argue. We're talking practical solutions for Nigeria. If the difference why Nigeria is different from America is known to us, then we can now begin to look for how to solve it, Abi. Why is it that generally people advise now that if you can japa to Europe, japa to America, japa to UK, if you have the resources to do it, do it. We have seen pastors give such advice. We have seen imams give such advice. We have seen babalawos give such advice. We have seen celebrities give such advice. That if you can japa from Nigeria to Europe, do it. Don't listen to anybody telling you to be patriotic. Why is it that any Nigerian would think about japa from Nigeria to Europe or UK or America or to Canada? Why? What is the difference? Why is it that America, UK, Canada, Europe, why are they preferred to Nigeria? This is the question I want to answer in this video because it is important. Many of you argue and say that it's because of corruption. It's because of insecurity. It is because of lack of job or employment opportunities. But is it really so? Is there no corruption in America? Is there no corruption in Canada? Is there no corruption in UK, in Europe? Is there no insecurity there? We saw what happened with Charlie Kirk. This is an American, somebody you will say is a conservative. In fact, he is a supporter of use of gun. Yeah. He supports it. Yet, he was assassinated in the full view of the public, in broad daylight. So, is there no insecurity there? We hear of school shootings here and there, drive-by shootings. We hear all manner of things. So, is it that is insecurity really that is the problem? Why we say, oh, Nigerians should japa? Is it corruption? Did we not hear about Joe Biden's son and the Biden's laptop? Hillary Clinton? We are here where Donald Trump was campaigning about draining the swamp. What is the draining the swamp? It's talking about corruption. So what is the difference? Why is it that America is preferred to Nigeria? Why? Why is it that Canada is preferred to Nigeria? Why is it that Europe, UK, they are preferred to Nigeria? China, India, Qatar. Why? If it's not corruption, if it's not insecurity, is it job opportunities? For me, the difference is impunity. In those society, there is corruption there, but they don't do it with impunity. There's corruption there. You see, the police of a state, they have to a large extent, they are under the control of the governor of that state. But you see, they will not carry out a crime with impunity. The rule of law rules in such society. So the difference between those society that you love to japa to and Nigeria is impunity. So if we know this, what should we be doing? Fix impunity. Impunity is everywhere in Nigeria. Celebrities are celebrating with impunity. Traditional rulers are ruling with impunity. Religious leaders are leading with impunity. Which one again? Politicians are politicking with impunity. Businesses are businessing with impunity. So if we want to make Nigeria to be a country where people can live freely like they do in those countries that you want to japa to, we must fix the problem of impunity. AEDC is doing business with impunity. All the discos in Nigeria, in fact, somebody argued and said the discos are even worse than police. The other day, the Nigerian army invaded Ikeja disco and even, Ikeja disco and Echo disco. And me, I was part of the people that criticized the Nigerian army, criticized the Nigerian Air Force, that they were working with impunity, that what they did was the height of impunity. I defended Ikeja disco and Echo disco until I had my own experience with Abuja disco, AEDC. So some people argue that the discos are even worse than the police. It is only when you have not suffered at their hand. So everybody is ruling with impunity. That is why Nigeria is not desirable to live in. The insecurity that exists in Nigeria, can you honestly say that it is separated from impunity? The insecurity in Nigeria today exists because of impunity. Impunity in the security agencies. A police officer believes he can do anything and get away with it. Yes, they are saddled with the responsibility for implementing law and order, right? Yes, but they are held to a higher standard. That is why they have laws that control their actions and activities. But do the police, do the DSS, do the NSCDC, do the road safety, do they work by those rules? Do they obey those rules? That is where the impunity is. So if people were not behaving with impunity, you attack opposition figures, opposition voices, but the terrorists, the bandits, the Boko Haram people, you treat them with kid glove. It is only in a society where there is impunity that those kinds of things can happen. So I want to beg, and this is a serious and a honest appeal. Before you think of Japa, can you contribute to solving impunity in Nigeria? And I know you will argue and say, can impunity be solved? Can it be tackled? Can it be eradicated? My quick answer to that is yes. And in fact, I will take it a step further and say, unless we solve the problem of impunity in Nigeria, we are going nowhere. The Tinubu administration and the APC, they can come and speak all the grammar. At the end of the day, if Nigerians continue to allow them to get away with their impunity, Nigeria will continue to slide into worse condition that it is in right now. Impunity. The corruption that we see in Nigeria today is because of impunity. If it is not impunity, why would somebody be in charge of the healthcare system? Be in charge of coming up with policies for better healthcare in Nigeria? They will tell us that they have even fixed the healthcare system in Nigeria, but they cannot patronize that system they claim they are fixed. They cannot use it. They will rather fly abroad to go and treat headache and malaria. Is it not impunity? Is it not impunity that will make somebody calling himself a leader, he will loot and siphon the monies that are supposed to be meant to the to develop the healthcare sector, he will loot it. Then come and lie to us that he has fixed the healthcare and use the money he looted to transport himself abroad to say he's going to get quality healthcare. Is that not impunity? And until we take care of that impunity, things will continue to get worse. There is a bill now. There is a bill that one Labour Party lawmaker from Abia State is proposing again in the House of Rep. It's not gaining traction. That bill says that they should ban public officials, whether civil servants or politicians. They should ban them from sending their children abroad to go and school, or from going abroad for health care, medical care. And somebody is talking about, oh, they have a right, they have a right. Come on. And we are not giving it the attention that we need. That is the way, or one way, to deal with impunity. Some people will come and argue that there are so many laws in Nigeria, that Nigeria is not a problem of law, it's corruption. Excuse me, sir. The corruption is rooted in impunity. And so long as we don't have these kind of laws that bar our politicians, our civil servants from sending their children abroad to school, from sending themselves and their children abroad for medical care, there will be impunity and the corruption will continue to get worse. When a tap is leaking and pouring water in the room, what do? Do you take or look for a mop and you begin to mop the water that is dropped on the floor? Or do you fix the tap? What we are doing is we are taking a mop to be mopping the water. The water in this case is the corruption. But what is causing that corruption, which is the tap? We are not dealing with it. Which is better? Continue to be mopping the floor when the tap will continue to be spilling more water? And in fact, with time, the water will be increasing in quantity. So if you don't fix the cause of corruption, the corruption will keep getting bigger and bigger. Right now, you see, they are no longer even stealing in billions. What are they stealing in now? In trillions. We need to deal with the tap. We need to deal with the problem at the source. The source of corruption is impunity. So long as you have leaders like the Akpabio, leaders like them Tinubu, like Tajuddin Abbas, people like Wike, so long as they can go to Germany, they can go to UK, they can go to France, they can go to America, they can go to India to treat headache. Our healthcare system can never be good. They argue now, you will see them, some supporters of this administration, that to me are traitors, because really, you cannot support a politician above the interest of a country just because you want to lick somebody's boot so you can get the crumbs from their table. That's treachery. That's treason. But some people will still come and argue now that Tinubu has fixed healthcare. Tinubu has fixed education. Oh, he has given nail fund, student loan. But they will not tell you that, or you should ask them the question, okay, if Tinubu has fixed healthcare, does Tinubu use National Hospital? Does Tinubu use Federal Medical Center Abuja? Does Tinubu even use the private hospitals in Nigeria? He said he has fixed it, Abi. So he didn't fix it good enough for him to patronize it, and then he needs to fly abroad. But they will still come and tell you they have fixed it. They will come out and tell you these lies. Why? Impunity. And the impunity will continue unless we implement and force free and fair elections on INEC particularly. And when we force free and fair elections on INEC, it will now be almost impossible for the judiciary to defend any rubbish because the evidence will be overwhelming. So one way to deal with impunity is free and fair elections. We have a solution for that. votewatch.pro, votewatch.pro. Check it out. There's a link for you to contribute to an awareness campaign for Vote Watch to guarantee free and fair elections in Nigeria in 2027. Contribute to it. This is where you should pay your tithe and offering. Because if we don't kick out impunity out of Nigeria by guaranteeing free and fair elections in Nigeria, your prayer in church will continue to be in vain. What you and I call witches from your father's house, witches from your mother's house, are actually nothing more than corrupt politicians. There is no witch from your father's house. Oh. It is not because of any witch from your father's house that you are 35, you are 40, you are not married. Oh. It is not. It is because of wicked politicians. It is not because of witches and wizards that you are married now for 15 years, you don't have fruit of the womb. It is not. It's because of bad politicians. In fact, we'll do a video about it later. Many Nigerians do not realize this. And when they realize it, they will see that really the witches and wizards and the powers, the principalities and the powers that are affecting their lives, that is making them to be jobless, that is making them to be childless, that is making them to be marriageless, to be single, those witches and wizards are actually the politicians in power today. And unless we force free and fair election, their reign of impunity will not stop. And Nigeria cannot get better. So your prayer will be wasted if you think you can just go to church and pray, if you think you can just go to mosque and pray, or even if you think you can just go to any Babalawo shrine and then your problem will be solved. You are joking. The real principalities, the real witches and wizards, they are the politicians in power today. And the only way to get them out, to break their rule or reign of impunity, is free and fair election. And one way to do it is votewatch.pro. Click it and support us. We need to engage a massive awareness campaign. We need to recruit 600,000 credible Nigerians that we call polling unit marshal, to force the free and fair elections on INEC, on Tinubu, on the police, on the judiciary, on the thugs. We need it. So the best investment you can make into Nigeria for your children and your children's children is to contribute to this awareness campaign, to force free and fair elections on INEC, on Tinubu in 2027, on Nigeria. Details is in votewatch.pro. Another way we must kick out impunity in Nigeria is to tackle impunity before it grows out of control. We're talking about impunity being everywhere. What is that sector or agency in Nigeria that rules with the most impunity? What is that agency? Some argue it is VIO. Some argue it is road safety. Some argue it is the Nigerian army. Some argue that it is the Nigerian police. Some argue that it is the judiciary. Some even say it is the discos. Which of these agencies and individuals are the most corrupt, that rule with the most impunity in Nigeria today? I would take my own personal pick. It is the Nigerian police. But there is a mistake that we always make. When we talk about impunity in Nigeria, we paint our institutions with one brush. It is wrong. We must stop it. Many times you come to say, oh, the Nigerian judiciary is corrupt. I think that's a wrong statement. And I'll tell you why. Oh, the Nigerian police is corrupt. I think that's a wrong statement. I will explain. Oh, the Nigerian judiciary is corrupt. No, that cannot be right. Look, these institutions are creations of states through laws. Is it possible that there are corrupt people in the judiciary, in the police, in the army, in the military? Yes. Is it right to say that, oh, all of them are corrupt? No. When we do that, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. There are people within these institutions that rule with impunity. We need to tackle their impunity, not paint all the institutions with a single brush. When we do that, it becomes impossible to defeat the impunity in those institutions. It's like saying your hand is bad, and because of that, you want to cut off your head. Can you do that? You cannot. So saying that the entire judiciary is corrupt, the entire police is corrupt, the entire INEC is corrupt, all of those things is exactly why it appears impossible and extremely difficult to defeat the impunity and the corruption that exists in those institutions. The solution is to look at the activities of the individuals. As corrupt as the Nigerian public thinks the judiciary is in Nigeria, there are judges within that judicial system that are above par in terms of impunity, in terms of corruption. There are. Are they few? Very, very likely. But do they exist? The answer is yes. So when we now say the judiciary is corrupt, we are including those people, however small they are. We are deflating their morale and making it impossible to really bring the impunity of the corrupt ones to power. So what is the solution? Deal with the impunity and the corruption of the individuals. How do we do it? Using our existing laws and creating awareness around it. Many Nigerian police officers do not understand the limits of their powers. So you have somebody, a deputy commissioner of police, somebody, an assistant commissioner of police, allows himself to be used because he has a friend that is a business person to collect debt, gbese. Use his office to arrest somebody who owes his friend, who is not a police officer. He will now use his office to arrest that person and harass that person to pay back the money to the person that is owed. That is the impunity. So what do we need to do? Instead of saying, coming to social media and complaining, which is what we like to do. And the algorithm loves it because the algorithm likes wawulence, it likes drama. It will push those kind of videos to get a lot of views. And because many of us were just interested in the views, we are now groomed to be doing those kind of videos. No. Rather, we should demand. There is the fundamental rights enforcement procedure. Right? We should take advantage of it. If you do your own suit, I do my own suit, they do their own suit, and all of us, it's not all of them that all the judges can corruptly rule against. And most times, I have seen from experience that the problem of a case, you can have somebody who is not guilty, but that person will lose a case because of his lawyers, lack of understanding of the processes and procedures. Every court has its rules. So not knowing the rules is the reason most cases are struck out based on technicalities. They will now run to social media and say, the judiciary is corrupt. Meanwhile, it is our lawyer that bungled the case because they did not follow the rules. This is exactly what happened to Peter Obi in the 2023 presidential election. I know the sentiment out there is that Peter Obi, the judiciary rigged in. I don't feel so. I have looked at the evidence. Peter Obi won the election. I can say that. But where is the evidence? The evidence that Peter Obi needed, the only evidence was from EC8A. If Peter Obi had gotten the original from EC8A, from all the polling units and tabulated it and came up with his own figure and took that to court, there is no judge, no justice, no matter the billions or trillions that Tinubu or APC gave them, that will contradict it. But what happened to Peter Obi? No from EC8A. And why no from EC8A? According to the testimony and the interview of Aisha Yesufu, Abure gave fictitious or fake polling unit agents. And even when they said, okay, fine, we will give you money, because they now started arguing about money on election day. You can imagine that. Okay, bring from EC8 result, we will give you money. They said we don't have from EC8 result. And if you remember, the Supreme Court even fined Peter Obi's lawyers for not submitting from EC8A result. I think 2 million or so. But we can go to public and whip up sentiments and say, oh, the judiciary is corrupt. Yeah, there are corrupt people in the judiciary, but not all of them are corrupt. And it's so, therefore, it is a wrong thing to paint the whole judiciary with one brush. What we need to do is, number one, make sure that your lawyers know the procedure, they know the rules, and they act within it. Why should a case be struck out based on technicalities? It simply shows that lawyer did not know his onions. If you have a clear case, and you have a lawyer that understands the processes and the procedures, the rules of court, it will be almost impossible for any judge to rule against what is clear, even if the government or the politician involved is his friend. So please, we need to stop painting the whole judiciary with one brush, the whole INEC with one brush. Take the activities of individuals. The people who rigged elections for INEC on behalf of the APC or whoever at the collation center, it's not Mahmood. We have seen what Mike Igini helped to do in Cross River, is it Cross River or Calabar, where that returning officer was jailed. If the way we jailed that one, we are able to jail the other ones too, what we will have is people like that returning officer, that Professor Oti of Abia, that stood her ground and said, no, I cannot allow the elections to be rigged here. But when we just paint the whole system, the whole INEC as corrupt, we are giving cover to those individuals that rig it at the ward level, at the polling unit level. Do you know there are even youth corpers that helped to rig at the polling unit? They were instructed by agents that, okay, by politicians who have promised them something, that when it gets to 2 o'clock, just close, even if there are people in the queue. And those youth corpers, they gave in because of what they want to get. They want to cash out during elections. So we should take those individuals, that particular youth corper, we take that youth corper on. We took care of those kind of youth corpers in our polling unit. We resisted them. Those collation officers at the collation center, starting from the ward to local government to state, you tackle them. If you cannot bring them to justice under the Electoral Act, we have the criminal code. We have the official code of conduct. We have all of those laws that we can use to bring them to justice. We need to start dealing with individuals within our institutions that engage in impunity to perpetrate corruption and evil. That's the whole point of this video. And to do that, I know that as individuals, will it be easy? It will be difficult because it's time consuming, it's money consuming, and then some people are even afraid for their lives. So as individuals, it may be difficult, if not impossible. But if we came together, we can deal with it. And that is why we have Law Patrol. In Law Patrol, we are taking the impunity of individual police officers. We are taking the impunity of individual INEC officers. We are taking the impunity of individual army, individual discos, individuals. We're dealing with it on a case-by-case basis. That deputy commissioner of police that used his position to harass somebody, to arrest somebody because his friend, who is not a police officer, a business person, gave him money. He collected that money and decided to harass the debtor. Owing debt is not a crime. The biggest debtors today are them Dangote. So if somebody is owing, it's a civil thing. The person is supposed to go to court and sue the person to court and use the court. The court can then give final order, either forfeiture, either compulsion, that you can now use to get your money from that person. That may eventually require the police, but not for you to now have police officers at the height, at the level of deputy commissioner of police being used to do these things. And then we'll just throw our hands in the air and say the Nigerian police is bad. No. There are good police officers within the Nigerian police. So the action of this particular bad one should not be used to judge the whole, but rather we should deal with it. So this law patrol team that we have set up, we are going after corrupt police officers that use impunity, that overreach their powers. Would bring them to justice. It will be difficult for individuals to do, but it will not be difficult if we came together. This is the way to guarantee that Nigeria can be better. If we take away impunity, can corruption exist? If we take away impunity, can insecurity exist? Why should somebody call himself an inspector general of police? Why should somebody call himself a chief of defense staff, a chief of army staff? And then we have insurgency. We have bandits in Nigeria for the past 10 years now, not solved. Meanwhile, you have somebody like Abacha saying if insecurity exists beyond 24 hours, government's hand is in it. It's not government hand that is in it. Somebody in government is involved. That is the impunity that we're talking about. And the only way to solve it is to deal with them individually. And I also want to say this. All of you giving ideas to Tinubu, I appreciate you. Many of you are very patriotic. Nnemeka, Dr. Nnemeka Obiareri, I watch your videos. I see your ideas. Fantastic. You are offering them. But you are wasting your time giving those kind of beautiful advice to somebody like Tinubu or the APC. Waste of time. Dr. Paul Alaje, I see your videos. I see your commentaries, your analysis. Top notch. But you are wasting your time giving those ideas to somebody like Tinubu or the APC. Because right now, impunity is all they know. And because their impunity can be weaponized by their backers, people in the IMF and World Bank, because that can happen, and then those people can use that impunity to force our leaders to do their bidding, they won't care. So the only way your solutions can work is if we bring in credible leaders. And that cannot happen by ranting on social media. It cannot happen by protests. It can only happen by forcing free and fair elections on INEC in 2027. How do we do that? Check out votewatch.pro. You will see it. You will see it. So I want to beg all of you, support Vote Watch. But more importantly, support Law Patrol. Let us kick out impunity from this Nigerian society so that Nigeria will be free to develop and be better than the UK, than the Canada, than the America, than the Europe that you guys want to Japa to. If we can guarantee free and fair election, and it is only by the people's choice that leaders emerge, not by the riggers' choice. If it is by the people's choice, politicians will now see that they need to be more loyal to the people. So they will now think of how they can make the people happy, which means delivery of the dividends of democracy. They will be focused on the people, not godfathers. But right now, it is the riggers of election that guarantee victory for politicians. So, what do you see? The politicians are more loyal to the riggers of election. All they are doing now is decamping to where they are sure that the rigging will favor them. So long as it is like that, Nigeria cannot develop. But if we can force free and fair election and make sure that it is the people that decide who leads, politicians will switch. We will have credible leaders. Then those beautiful ideas that people like you have been proffering will now be implemented. Anything short of that, we'll just be talking and arguing and ranting on social media, and me, I am tired of it. We want results. So please, support votewatch.pro, volunteer as a polling unit marshal, and then support law patrol. Let's kick out impunity. That's the only difference between us and them. If you can do it, a new Nigeria you will see is not only possible, it will happen within 6 months.